chapter 2, verse 7. And the Most High, our power, formed man out of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
So basically here it's showing you how the Most High made man, and what he made man from, which was the dust of the ground. So it says he formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. So in the beginning when he made him, he wasn't alive. He was just a body, right? But when he breathed into him the breath of life, then he became alive. So the body without that breath of life is dead. It's nothing. So that's what happens in the beginning, but that's the same thing that happens in the end. Without that breath of life, without that spirit, we're dead. Okay? So now read on. Read verse 8.
Verse 8. And the Most High, our power, planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed, and out of the ground made...
So the Most High made Adam outside of the Garden of Eden. He made Adam outside of the paradise of the garden. The whole earth at that time was a paradise, but the Garden of Eden was something special that the Most High made for Adam and Eve. But the Most High made Adam outside of the garden, then he placed him into the garden. Read that again.
Verse 7.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. And the Most High power planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
So when you read the word Eden, that itself means paradise, or the Hebrew word Aidan, paradise. So it's showing you that the whole world was paradise, but he put Adam in the garden, which was a special place, so to say, eastward, meaning it was in the east. You understand? Now, what we're really talking about is the body of Adam that the Most High made. So read verse 7 again.
And the Most High power formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Right, so the Most High made Adam body out of the dust of the ground. Go to Job chapter 12, verse 7. Because as much as we want a glory, guess what? We're still made out of that dust. We're still made out of that dust. And what happens when we die? Go right back to being a dust state. Right, exactly. So there's nothing to really glory about. The body itself that the Most High has made is amazing, no doubt. He deserves praises for that, but it's no reason for us to be proud beyond what we are. Job chapter 12, verse 7.
The book of Job, chapter 12, verse 7. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee.
So all of these creatures are going to do what? They're going to praise the Most High. You understand? From the smallest to the biggest, they're all going to praise the Most High. So man now, coming from the dust of the ground, he's supposed to do what? Praise the Most High. Because the Most High made him better than these creatures. But nonetheless, even though he's made better than these creatures, he's still coming from the lowest estate. He's coming from the dust. And what makes man special? The spirit that the Most High has put in him. That's what makes him special. So now, if the beasts and the fish and all of these creatures praise the Most High, what is man supposed to do? Praise him on an even higher level. Read.
Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Most High hath wrought this?
So the hand of the Most High has wrought this, or made this all. You understand? So the idea is not to think of yourself higher than anything else, because the Most High made you, and in reality, from the time that you're made to the time that you're born, you die, you're supposed to praise him, because in the end, you go back to dust. You understand? So, what is your job? What are you supposed to be doing? Praising the Most High. Praising the Most High. If the fish do it in their own capacity, and the beasts do it in their own capacity, their own way, their own limited way, man that the Most High gave a mouth to is supposed to praise the Most High on even a higher level. You understand? Read 10 again. In
whose hand is the soul of every little thing, every living thing, and the breath of all mankind.
Right. Now, let's read from here, go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. It's beautiful that we know that we are special creatures of the Most High, but we are special creatures designed and made to praise the Most High in our words and in our actions, and with the body that He fashioned to us. Genesis chapter 3, verse 19.
Reading out the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground.
Right, because you were made from the dust of the ground, and when you die, you go back to being dust. If you watch your body as it decomposes, it turns literally to dust. You understand? Even when you sweat and that dries up, what is that? That's dirt. That's actually dust. You understand? So some people say, oh, we're so advanced now. We're so ahead. We're so much better than before. No, you're the same way. The same unique way that the Most High made you from the beginning up until now. Until He changes us. You understand that? So, again, praising the Most High is what we're supposed to be doing. Read.
For out of it was thou taken.
Read it from the top again.
So again. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it was thou taken.
So who can say that they're a little bit different now than what the statement is saying? Who can say they're better than what the statement is saying? So now he's talking to Adam here. Thousands of years ago, right? But can anybody today, thousands of years later, say, I'm better than Adam? I'm made different, I'm made better. No, you're made the same exact way. You understand? And when Adam sinned, what did he do to Adam? He punished him. All right, read on.
For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Just the same as you were in the beginning where you were made, you shall be the same in the end. Dust. Dust. This is simply to say, don't be overly proud. The Most High has made an amazing thing called a body that scientists and biologists, they still can't figure it out all the way. You understand? They can't still figure out all the functions, the way it works together. They can't take a physically dead body and just give it life again. They can't do it. Only the Most High could do that. Yeah, you can resuscitate a person when he just dies, right? But if you were really God, you should take a body that's 7 days dead and just bring it back, right? No, that glory belongs to the Most High. That glory belongs to the Most High. So when you go back to Genesis chapter 2, hold that. When you go back to Genesis chapter 2 and you read verse 7 again, now it becomes more clear that the Most High deserves His adoration. Read that again, Genesis 2 and 7.
The book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And the Most High power formed man of the dust of the ground.
Now stop. He formed man of the dust of the ground. We could take dust from the ground, right?
Yeah.
So could the smartest, wisest man in here. Can he make a living soul out of that?
No.
Nah, you can't do it. So that's why the praise belongs to the Most High. You understand? So what it is that you always have a reason to praise the Most High. What it is that if you really look at life and just look at it for what it really is, the Most High deserves praise for everything. You and I get up every day, you know, we do what we do. We take the Most High for granted. Because look in the mirror, same guy, same girl, lady, sister, whatever, right? Wash the face, take the shower, I'm looking good, right? The praise deserves to the Most High. Because you had nothing to do with that eye, that nose, that face, that body. You have nothing to do with that, right? And for those that don't believe in the Most High, well, how were you created? You can't say my mother and my father did it because they don't know how they did it. They know what they did to get you. You understand? They were participants in an act which the Most High created and showed them, gave them the will to do. You understand? So from the beginning of time, when Adam and Eve came together and they got Cain. Cain is the firstborn man on earth, right? Not made, born, different, right? Did Adam and Eve say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to come together, and we're going to put this chromosome with that chromosome, it's going to form the... No, they didn't know none of that. All it says was Adam knew his wife Eve and she conceived. Adam couldn't explain to you what happened. You understand? Eve couldn't say, well, this is what he did. He wrote this formula. Nah, none of that. You understand? So the Most High deserves praise for that. He deserves praise for you, for me, for your word, your tongue, your mouth, your ears, the senses. He's giving you 5 senses. You understand? And with those 5 senses, what it makes you do is be able to be in this realm and be complete. You have your vision, you have your hearing, you have your feeling, your touching, everything else, right? Those senses that you and I still take for granted, the Most High put them there. Because what happens to a man when he's born without his eyes or without vision? It's not the same for him. When he's born without hearing, it's not the same for him. So you and I that are blessed, you understand? We should praise the Most High. That is the whole point. Genesis 2:7.
From the top.
Yeah.
And the Most High power formed the man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
So now, without the Most High, without that breath of life, what are we? Shells. Bodies. What happens to a man that lived 100 years on this earth and that dies when he's 100? What do they call him? Do they call him by his name anymore? No, they say the body's over there. Right? So the body's right there in that coffin. They don't call him by his name anymore, right? Or they might say that's John's coffin. So what happened to all his glory? He lived 100 years. He did all these wonderful things. What happened after he died? He just became a body. What was taken from him? The breath of life. You understand? Which is the Most High Spirit. Once that's gone, you're gone. So without that, what are you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You understand? So when you think about these things, it should make you want to praise the Most High. Glorify the Most High. Because this is his doing. Everything about you is the blessing that he's given to you. Read.
And the Most High power formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils.
So now when you look at the dust of the ground, you say, hey, that's me. Okay? No matter how they might say the riches of this soil, the riches of that, don't worry about all that. You understand? The fact is that you came from a lower state and the Most High brought you to a higher state by putting his spirit, his breath into you. Okay? Read.
And man became a living soul.
Now, so now we have 3 things here. You have the body that came from the soil, from the earth, from the dust. Then we have, like he says, the breath of life, which is your spirit, which he put into you. In between that is what? Soul. You understand? So he made you of 3 things: your body, your soul, and your spirit. Remember that. And when you think of yourself, you have to think of yourself in those dimensions. You're not just a body. You understand? Because if you're just a body, you're dead. Pretty much, right? So now you're a body, you're a soul, and you're a spirit. All right? You're 3-dimensional in that aspect. Because there's 3 compartments to you. There's three things about you which are very unique. And those 3 things make you one. Make you alive. Make you significant, makes you relevant, and makes you important in the eyes of the Most High. He made you. Didn't have to make you. He made you. So what I'm trying to impart to you is to look at yourself and praise the Most High for what he's done. And also look at yourself and say, wow, it's amazing. The Most High made a body. You know what I'm saying? The Most High made a soul, and he made a spirit, and he put it all in me. Okay? Now with that, gain understanding and wisdom of not only who you are on this earth, but who you are when you depart from this earth. You don't take your body with you, right? No. Right, you don't. What about your soul and your spirit? That's up to the Most High. You understand? But one thing you know, you don't take your body with you. The only man that took his body with him was who? Yahushua. Okay? And for that, again, you should glorify the Most High. Because Yahushua said what? In this same body, I'm going to come back, and everybody that pierced me is going to see me. You understand that? For that, he deserves glory. You understand? Now, let's read on. Let's go from here to Job chapter 10. Job chapter 10, verse 11. Sometimes when you're reading these scriptures, like what we just read in Genesis chapter 2, you might, because you've read it so many times, You might overlook certain words or certain things within it. You know, taking it for granted. But the more you read it and see the significance of the dust, then the body, then the soul, and then boom, the spirit. Man became a living soul. Let me tell you something. Do you know how many mad scientists are in labs right now trying to do what the Most High did? Trust me, there's a whole lot of Frankenstein doctors out there. A whole lot of them. Then for hundreds of years, they've been trying to do what the Most High did. They've been zapping people and doing all kind of things. Kidnapping people, yes. Kidnapping people and doing all kind of things with their bodies and you know, trying to take the soul of a man and put it into another body. They're trying to do all kind of crazy things. You understand? Now, they're not the Most High. You understand? They're trying to get the praise of the Most High, trying to be like the Most High. But the Most High told you that. You understand? He told you that from the beginning. So now, what we have to do is to truly look into the glory and the amazing things that the Most High has done to see why we're so unique and so special. Job chapter 10, verse 11.
The book of Job, chapter 10, verse 11. Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh.
Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh. You take your skin for granted, right? You take your flesh for granted, right? Without this skin, guess what will happen to your organs? It happens to people sometimes. They get cut, and guess what happens? It all comes out. You understand? You cannot survive without the skin. Read that again.
Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh.
Thou hast clothed me. It's like how you put on an outfit. You want to either look a certain way or feel a certain way. You put something on, something light on because it's too hot. You put something heavier on because it's too cold. That's what the Most High did with your skin. He designed our bodies to not only keep our organs in, but to look a certain way, to behave and react a certain way. You understand? That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Okay? Because you can't make skin in the lab. You can't make flesh in the lab. You understand? But the Most High did it from the beginning, and up to today, it's still amazing. All right? Read.
And thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews.
When you read this, it doesn't even seem like he's talking about a body, right? Fenced me. But that's exactly what he did. He made the rib cage. He fenced in all your organs, your heart and your liver, and everything is fenced in. Literally fenced in. You understand? Now, amazing. Because you can't do that in a lab. You understand? Read from the top one more time.
Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews.
Fenced me with bones and sinews. Amazing. Amazing. Think about when the Most High was showing Ezekiel the valley of bones. Right? Nothing but loose bones all over the place. What did he say that they needed? They needed sinews. They connective tissues. They needed all these things. So the Most High was showing them a picture of the nation not being united, not being alive. Without who? Without what? The Spirit of the Most High. So again, everything that you're reading right now is the reason why we glorify the Most High. You understand? So now, that's on the level where we are now as far as bones in the valley, because we don't know who we are. We're lost without our knowledge of who we are. Go ahead, brother. Oh, Salakia.
No, sir.
We're lost without our power, our source of power, which is the Most High. That breath of life on the level of being spiritual is just not there for the nation of Israel right now. You understand? So, but it shows you that without the Most High, we're nothing. You understand? Nothing. But the Most High says, look, I'm going to put sinews on them, I'm going to put flesh on them, and they're going to become a what?
Living soul. A living soul.
And what? And an army. An army of people. Coming from nothing to everything. You understand? That's how the Most High deals with us. Go to Ezekiel chapter 37. Because even when the Most High was talking to Ezekiel, it looked hopeless to Ezekiel. You understand? It looked hopeless to him. Read Ezekiel 37:1.
From 1? The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 1. The hand of the Most High was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Most High, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Dead bodies. Go ahead.
And caused me to pass by them round about.
So the Most High not only carried Ezekiel out, caused him to pass by around. In other words, he gave him a 360 view. You understand? Gave him a 360 view. Look at all these bones, man. All of these bones, bone all over the place. Read.
And caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
All of these bodies. Remember, the Most High in the beginning created the body and made it from the dust of the ground. You put the organs inside, then he fenced it in with skin and flesh. You understand? Now all of these bodies you hear, they were missing something now. They were dry, very dry. They were dead. Read.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
Now you go to a graveyard or wherever, you see a bunch of bones. Would you believe that those bones would come back alive?
No.
That's how Ezekiel was feeling like, I don't know. Not only are they dead, they're very dead.
God.
You understand? So read the rest, verse 3.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, Yahweh, thou knowest.
In other words, only you know, because they look dead to me. You understand? Read.
Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Most High. Thus saith the Most High power unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you.
Because that's what they were missing. They were missing the sinews. They were missing the flesh. They were missing all, like what Job said, all that the skin fenced in. They were missing all those things. All right? Read.
And cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Most High.
So here again, we're reading about the breath of the Most High, which is what? Life. In the beginning, when you read about it in Genesis, it showed you how man became a living soul. Okay? But it's showing you that without the breath of the Most High, you're really nothing. That's what life really is. Life is really the breath of the Most High. So with the breath of the Most High, you live. Without the breath of the Most High, you're dead. Okay? So in other words, to put it on a simple level, again, there's always a reason to praise the Most High. Always a reason to praise the Most High. Go to the book of Job 33 and 4. Job chapter 33, verse 4.
The book of Job, chapter 33, verse 4. The Spirit of Yahweh had made me, and the breath of the Almighty had given me life.
Right, so the Spirit of the Most High hath made me. Not myself, nothing I did. And the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Your life is of the Most High. He gives you life. He makes you live. He gives you that awareness. He makes you who you are. That breath of life. Okay? Now, if you understand now, the body is made by the Most High, and the soul and the spirit is made by the Most High. Everything is made by the Most High. Right? Let's go to the book of Psalm 150. Psalm chapter 150. If there's any day you wake up and you feel like you have no purpose in life, If you feel like you have no reason to live, go over these scriptures. You will understand why you have a reason to live, why you have a purpose. Because the Most High has made you. When the time comes, the Most High will take you. And that's okay too. That's okay too. You understand? But the Most High has made you on this earth with a purpose and with a reason. Your reason to be on this earth is to live, is to learn, is to naturally become whole, is to praise the Most High. You understand? So you have to reassure yourself when that spirit of doubt is on you. You have to really power yourself up when you feel down. Because sometimes you're going to get that spirit and you feel like you don't want to live. Think about it. So many people committed suicide today because they don't recognize the glory that the Most High has done by making them. You understand? They might take somebody's word and say, you know, you ain't nothing. You an N. You a B. You this, you that. You understand? People take other people's words and allow it to destroy them. To destroy their self-esteem. So somebody from the outside comes in and is going to tell you what you are. How is that possible? How is that possible? If you have value for yourself, good self-esteem, then nobody do that to you. But the world beats you down sometimes. Makes you feel unworthy. Make you feel like you're nothing. Like you have no purpose. Like you've done nothing. Make you look back. What have I done in the X amount of years that I've lived on this earth? How have I been profitable? That's what the world is going to do to you. And the reason why people do that to you is because that's how they feel. But by destroying you and beating you down, they build themselves up. Look what I did to him. Look what I did to her. Right? We do that to each other. We do that to each other because sometimes that's what makes us feel like a man. Right? Or an adult. Right? That's wrong. Every time you see a human being, you see the glory of the Most High. Just like when you see the sun. You understand? So whether that's your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your wife, or your husband, you're supposed to deal with that person accordingly. You're a creation of the Most High. They're a creation of the Most High. You understand? You're not looking at trash. In other words, you're not looking at garbage. You're looking at something amazing. Something that you can't explain how that person was composed and made to be being a person. So the point of the matter is you need to value yourself. You need to value others. If you see someone maybe not doing as good as you, not to look down on that person. You understand? Because when the Most High says be not conformed to the world, that's what he's talking about. That's what the world does. That's what the world teaches. Psalms 150, verse 6.
Psalms 150, verse 6. Let everything that hath breath praise the Most High.
Let everything that hath breath. You have breath. The Most High made you from the dust of the ground, compacted you in with the skin, right? And then he put his breath in you to make you a living soul. So it says, read that, says what? Read that again.
Let everything that hath breath praise the Most High.
So if you're alive and you're still living, if you still have the breath of the Most High in you, you're supposed to praise the Most High. Read.
Praise ye the Most High.
Praise ye the Most High. As long as you have that breath in you. And when you praise the Most High, what happens is it brings you up. Because now you're looking to a higher source. You might have looked at that person in the mirror and been disappointed in that person. You understand? You might have looked at everything around you and been disappointed in that. Like, damn, what have I done? Where have I gotten in life? You know? But you have breath. And as long as you have breath, you have reason to praise the Most High. And the only time you shouldn't praise the Most High or you can praise the Most High is when?
You're dead.
When you're dead. When you're no longer in that body. But as long as you're in that glorious body that the Most High has made from Adam up until now, you should praise the Most High. When you're down, stop thinking about yourself. Praise the Most High. Chapter 20. John chapter 20. There's two things we got to stop doing. Stop looking down on ourselves and stop putting each other down. You You understand?
Yeah.
There's nothing righteous about that. There's nothing glorious about that. It doesn't make you better or stronger because you put somebody else down to put yourself up. You know, sometimes you have to catch yourself in what you're about to say. You got to stop your mouth. You got to walk away. You got to shut up. Sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody might say something to you that's really, really bad and low and like hit you in the gut. And you want to retaliate verbally, right? You're going to come back and say, well, let me see what the baddest thing I can say. Nah, don't do that. You understand? Don't do that because that's not of the Most High. Suppose the person is in the world and you are a servant of the Most High with knowledge of self. You know who you are. That person says something to you that's really, really bad. Low, makes you feel bad. What do?
Be quiet.
Be quiet. Or
Be quiet and go. What I do for myself, I stop talking for a little bit and don't respond. Either pray on it or go think about it and try to find the right words to respond to it, depending on who the person is.
that's right. That's right.
Depends on who the person is.
Yeah, I used to deal with somebody like that, and constantly, every day, finding reasons to put me down. Looking at this person like they're crazy. You know what I'm saying? But as I'm looking at the person and the words are coming to you, I'm like, man, I gotta shut you up. You see? But that's the way it works, because that spirit is working itself up, finding things, you know, they know about you or whatever they sense about you, and they're trying to bring you down to the point where it's like a verbal battle. You understand? But all that is a test. It's a test. All that is a test for you. You're a better person if you don't respond or if you respond the right way. It's not always easy. Trust me, I know, and I know you know. Because it might come to the point where that person is your child. The fashion of the world is to do what? Do the same thing. We've seen it in the streets. Children talking to their parents, saying all kind of words, all kind of nastiness and cursing at them. What does a parent do? They do the same thing. That's not a righteous thing to do. You understand? You don't glorify the Most High like that. Matter of fact, you put the Most High to shame. You know, you got brothers in garments doing that. You know what I'm saying? They think that it's their right. But see, when that foulness comes out of your mouth, you're really putting the Most High to shame. You might feel like a man. You know what I'm saying? You see your sister walking by, calling her a B and talking about her and all that. You're not a man. Because a man doesn't do that. If somebody is ignorant of the knowledge of the scriptures, that means that they're in a lower state. Their mind is not really where it's supposed to be. But if you claim to be, and you're doing that, what are you?
Worse than the person who was there.
Exactly.
Worse.
All right? So now, John chapter 20, right?
Yeah.
It's not always easy to retain your integrity. It's not always easy to do the right thing or say the right thing. Because people, you have to understand, it's not really just a person that's coming at you. It's a spirit.
Right.
So you being a spiritual person now, you have to go spirit to spirit. You understand? Don't go carnal to carnal. Because then you're degrading yourself. You go like you're back in the world. You have to go or go to war with the carnal, with the spirit. In other words.
Question on that.
Yeah.
How would you classify emotion? Is it more on the carnal side? I understand the Most High give that emotion to us, but I find that we all like to say, how I feel emotionally about something is the way you would pass judgment on the situation, which to me only satisfy your desire, not that of the Most High.
Yeah. But you just said it. That's basically what that is. No, you gotta remember something. We're talking about the flesh, the soul, the spirit. Okay? So within the flesh you can feel pain. Right? But within the soul you can feel pain. And it can go from the flesh to the pain. You ever heard of the term being soulfully wounded? That's what that is. It goes from the flesh through the ears, which is one of the senses that he gave you, right? It goes right to the soul. You can be a defeated soul. There's a whole lot of defeated souls out there. And that's the reason why they're taking drugs. That's the reason why they're fighting. That's why they're shooting each other. Because they're defeated. You understand? They don't understand. They don't see the glory that the Most High has made by making them.
And that's when you make the emotional rule over the...
Exactly. You have low self-esteem. A lot of people have low self-esteem and don't understand what that is. Okay? There's a scripture I want to bring you to where it shows you that when you get emotional, that's when these spirits enter in. Okay? But
I remind you of that one.
go John chapter 20, verse 22.
Book of John, chapter 20, verse 22. And
Matter of
when,
fact, you're gonna have to start at 19, yeah.
20?
Yep, 20 and 19.
20 and 19. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Yahushua and stood in the midst and said unto them, Peace be unto
So
you.
this is after he was crucified and he gave up the spirit, went back to the Most High, went back to the went into the grave, right? For the 3 days. And he came back. The door is shut. And boom, he appears in front of them. It says what? Peace be unto you. Read.
And when he had said so, he showed unto them his hands and his side. Then were the disciples glad when they saw the Lord.
They were glad because they had proof that was him. Remember, at this point, some of them were saying, oh, you stole his body. You did this. You know what I'm saying? You're liars. You understand? So, and not only that, it says that what? They were assembled for fear of the Jews. That's us. Because we didn't believe. We didn't believe. They wanted to attack them. Us. You understand? He died for us. But yet we wanted to attack the disciples because they were with him. And now that he's gone in their eyes, they're saying, man, you see, we knew he was a liar. So they wanted to attack them. Read. Not only that, remember, Israel was waiting for their Messiah. And some of those that verbally said they didn't believe silently was hoping it was him. You understand? So now that he was crucified, it was like, nah, see, we knew you were liars. We knew he was a liar. Read on.
Then said Yahushua to them again, Peace be unto you. As my Father had sent me.
Read 20, right?
Oh, read 20 again. And when he said so, he showed unto them his hand and his side. And then were the disciples glad when they saw the Lord.
Right, read.
Then said Yahushua to them again, Peace be unto you.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Read on.
As my Father had sent me, even so I send I you.
So he gave them their purpose. He reminded them of their purpose. They were closed in, afraid of the Jews, afraid of being attacked. So he came to them and showed them his hands and his side, just to show them, look, what I said was real. I said I would raise the third day, right? So it gave them confidence again. You understand? That's what we need sometimes, right? That confidence. But see, now in this age and time, we're not going to see Yahushua like that. What we have is a thing called faith. That's what you need. Because remember, when they saw him and saw all the miracles that he did, all the power that he had, what happened when he was crucified? They lost all of that. They stopped believing. You understand? So the point of the matter is, you're always going to have doubters. You're always going to have haters. You have to hang on to your faith. You have to let it be fuel to your body, to your soul. Understand? You can't let what people say break you down, or destroy you, because then you're going to be like the wind, tossed to and fro. Okay? And when you get up and you feel low, you don't feel your strength, you have to bring yourself up. Remember your faith. Read on.
Verse 22. And when he had said this, he breathed on them and said unto them, Receive ye the Holy Ghost. Whosoever sins ye remit, they are remitted unto them.
So he breathed on them. And when he had said this, he breathed on them. That's that breath of life. You understand? It's that breath of life that what? They were afraid and locked in, afraid of the Jews. He came and breathed on them and did what? Brought them back to life again. So even though they weren't physically dead, they were afraid. That's why emotions, when you get emotional, that's when you get weak sometimes. That's when spirits come in, when doubt comes in. But he breathed on them and brought them back to life. You understand? So you have to, that's very important right there. Very important. That breath of life, man, is very important. But that breath of life is not just what's in your lungs. It's in the Word. You understand? So now when you feel dead on a spiritual level, you got to read these words. So these words could be the breath of life and bring you back up. Reminding you of who you are and your future. You understand? Because this world is going to beat you down. I'm telling you, it's going to beat you down to the point where you start thinking carnally again. You got to use these words like Yahushua did to the disciples and bring yourself back to life, because you're going to be by yourself sometime.
I can't remember which verse it is, but it said about the weapons of our warfare isn't carnal but spiritual. Like, so that's kind of like...
No, that's you're right. And we can get to that. Read on.
Verse 23. Whosoever sins ye remit, they are remitted unto them. And whosoever sins ye retain, they are retained.
They are retained. That's a powerful, powerful responsibility that he gave them. Remember that. But now, like I said, there's always going to be people around you. Today we call them haters. Sometimes doubters. Sometimes the doubter is going to be you. The hater is going to be you. Sometimes you're going to question the scriptures. You're going to question, did that really happen? Did you really turn from water to wine? You know, I mean, was that just a parable? Was that just something like a allegorical saying? You understand? No, there's a difference between what's an allegorical saying and what he actually did. You understand? But now, like I said, he's not here with us today in the flesh. What we have today is the Holy Spirit. So now, when you open this book, what pops out at you is the Holy Spirit to revive you. You understand? Read on.
Verse 24. But Thomas, one of the 12.
Now he was one of the 12. One of the 12 disciples. He walked with Yahushua. You and I wish we could walk with Yahushua today, right? Being in his presence, hearing his words, seeing his works, right? But this brother right here, he walked with him. You saw all he did. He heard the power of his words. You saw all the people that followed him, right? But what happened? Read that again.
But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Yahushua came.
So when Yahushua came in and he said, Shalom, Thomas wasn't there. This is the Most High's doing. You understand? Because this is what happens to you. You're not around the body, right? And what happens to you? You begin to doubt. So we can walk out of here today and tomorrow you get a phone call or something happens and then you start to doubt. Like, am I really in this? Or is this for real? Is the Most High really going to bless me? So now you might read this and just say, oh, that's just Thomas. No, put yourself here. Put yourself right here. Not only put yourself here, remember when you were here. When you were called Thomas. When you were doubting the Most High. Why? Because not only did it happen to you before, it will happen again. Okay, read on.
Verse 25. The other disciples therefore said unto him, we have seen the Lord. But he said unto them.
He should have said, yeah, okay, shalom, hallelujah, right? That's what he should have said, right? You seen the Lord. He came back. All of y'all saw him? All right. Right? But that's not what he said. Read on.
But he said unto them, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe.
This brother said, man, I need proof. I don't care what y'all say. Where's the proof? Okay, did you take a picture? What did you do? Where he at now? You understand? But the Most High was keeping him apart from them purposely because he
had no faith.
He had no faith, man. How can you walk next to somebody and have no faith? It's like me saying, coming up to you and saying shalom, then walking out of here. I don't know if he was really there. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? But this brother, he had doubt from the beginning. So it was a major what? Stumbling block for him. You understand? And that's what the words of the Most High are going to become to us every now and then. Stumbling blocks. But there are some that run into the stumbling block, trip over, fall, and never come back. You understand what I'm saying to you? Trip over, fall, and never come back. So now, you have to be careful that's not you. Because what you're about to read is the Most High appeared to him and he was revived by his sight. You understand?
But not by his will.
Say it again.
But not by his will.
All right. Read.
Verse 26. And after 8 days again his disciples were within, and Thomas was with them. Then came Yahushua, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said,
Hold on. Now, when you read the part about the doors being shut, it should be enough for you. Because you can't walk through no door. Right? So now the doors being shut, locks on, and how you get in? Right? But that's the whole point. You have to catch that point. The doors are shut, and yet he appeared to us. Read on.
the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you.
Shalom. Read.
Then saith he to Thomas.
Now hold on. Thomas was saying, basically, if I don't see him, I'm not going to believe. Right? Now you're seeing him. Right? Now you're going to take it to the next level. Because Yahushua knew how deep his doubt was. That in just him appearing to him wouldn't be enough. Because remember, when he first appeared to the other disciples, he didn't say, put your hand in and do it. He didn't say none of that, right? Because they didn't need that. To show you that the level of insecurity and doubt could be amazing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you got to check yourself to see where you are. And when you find yourself at a certain point, you have to find fuel to bring yourself back up.
All praises.
Okay? Read on.
Then saith he to Thomas, Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless.
Be not faithless. Be not faithless is the message to us. We're in these bodies. Remember, we have all our senses. The Most High has blessed us on different levels. But we shouldn't have to go to this level right here. You understand? Read on.
But believing.
But believing. Be not faithless, but believing. You have to continue believing. I'm going to tell you the honest truth, brothers, sisters. Okay? Many of us have died in this truth. I can go back to Moses. I can go back to Adam. He went back to the dust, right? So from Adam all the way up. Adam was in this word. Because the Most High gave him the commandments. That's why his brother Abel knew what to sacrifice to the Most High. Now, his other brother Cain, the firstborn, that should have knew better, did know better. You see, that's the point. So when you know the law, you know the truth, in other words. So from back then, they all knew, they all died. Up to Peter died, up to Paul died. You understand what I'm saying? The brothers that were here in the Americas and Brazil, and some of them knew the truth. Some of them spake the truth, not turning these brothers. Prophet Cherry, right? They all knew the word, but what happened to them? They died knowing this word. You and I might die. You understand? But die as a believer, man. Die as a believer. Because whether you believe or not doesn't change the Most High's will. It only changes your faith. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
So die as a believer. That's what the Most High showed us with Thomas. It shouldn't have to go that far. Read.
And Thomas answered and said unto him, My Lord and my God.
All of a sudden, my Lord and my power, right? Why didn't you believe before that? Each disciple that you read about is meant to not represent just that person, but it's meant to represent what you can go through. You understand? Remember that. Remember when Peter denied Yahushua, he said, you're not going to die on the cross. No, that's not going to happen to you. That can happen to you. You understand? Remember that. Thomas now is being so important because it happens to us so much. We begin to doubt. The spirit of doubt comes to us, and then not only do we hear it from somebody on the outside, it goes from our ear, which is one of our senses, to the soul, to the body. So now when the soul is defeated, the body is defeated. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Words can do that to you. Words can defeat the glorious creation that the Most High has created called your body, your soul, and your spirit. You can't let that happen. Because now, how are you glorifying the Most High when you let that happen?
Can't.
How are you glorifying the Most High when you walk backwards within His creation called the body, the soul, and the spirit? You're not appreciating all that marvelous work. You understand what I'm saying to you? You're not appreciating that. If you don't appreciate that, then you're like Thomas. Because guess what? When Yahushua rose up, what happened to him? Did he start not believing again? Yahushua said, I'm going to return. He didn't return at that time. So what happened to Thomas? What happened to Thomas when he didn't return again during his time? What happened?
His unbelief.
Exactly. Don't let that happen to you. Because my point is, this thing is stretched out. The disciples asked Yahushua, will you return the kingdom unto us now? They asked him that before he rose up. Remember that?
Yeah,
It's in Acts chapter 1, right?
I can say no.
It didn't happen at that point in time. What is everybody in here waiting for?
Kingdom to be returned to us.
Exactly. Exactly. What happens if it doesn't happen in your time?
It's going back within my children's time or my children's
Anything
time.
is possible. Could come tomorrow, right? The point of the matter is,
It's coming.
you have to be faithful and a strong believer, because what you read in Revelation is showing you that there's going to be so many signs from the opposite side that it's going to fool some, it's going to make some doubt, it's going to make some give up. You understand? The scripture said it'll come to the point where even those that know shall doubt. You understand? All right, so let's read.
I've seen that already.
Verse 29. Yahushua saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed.
You know who that is? That's who we are. That's who we are. We haven't seen with the physical eyes that the Most High made for us. We haven't seen Yahushua. Not only have we not seen Yahushua, we haven't seen the power of Yahushua. We haven't seen his miracles. We didn't see him bring the dead back to life. You understand? We didn't see none of those amazing and great things that he did. But nonetheless, blessed are those that haven't seen and yet believe. That's who you are. You're blessed to have what? Faith. You're blessed to be a believer. And you have to take that for what it is. Read that again.
Yahushua said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and have believed.
Read.
And many other signs truly did Yahushua in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that ye might believe that Yahushua is the Hamashiach.
You might believe. These are written so that you might believe. You understand? That's what this word is about. To make you a believer. The Most High will send you the Holy Spirit. Not only so you can read words, but you can read words through spiritual eyes, not just carnal eyes, and see them come alive. You understand? Read.
That ye might believe that Yahushua is the Hamashiach, the Son of our power, and that believing ye might have life through his name.
And that believing you might have life through his name. In other words, again, when you're feeling like nothing, low self-esteem, you're down, you have to come back to these words to give you that life. This breath of life is in these words. You understand? That's what you have to understand. You have to really believe. Anytime you feel any way other than yourself, you're being invaded by another spirit. Can you see spirits? Nah. That's the hardest thing. You can't see them coming at you, but they're attacking you.
Yeah.
When you feel angry, when you feel doubt, envy, jealousy, you're under attack and don't even know it. But now you as a spiritual man and a spiritual woman, you have to acknowledge these things. You have to get to a point in your life where you understand when you're in warfare. Don't give in. Don't just give in. Don't just give up. Understand what's going on with you. Okay? Understand that the Most High, first of all, is trying you. And the way you're being tried is by these spirits, by these emotions. And remember, the more you're emotional, the more spirits come in. It's like an opening of a gate. You understand? So, all of that is being said to show you that you're susceptible to these things. And you know, yes, you can say you're strong. Yes, I'm strong. You have to be strong. Okay, but you have to be strong in warfare. What, my brother? Appreciate it. This is spiritual warfare. And what the spirits do is attack your body. They attack your mind. All your members. They attack you. You understand? So now let's go to the book of, let's go to Genesis 1:26. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Again, the Most High is talking about our bodies. Read.
The book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And Yahweh said, let us make man in our image after our likeness.
So these glorious bodies that we have are made after the image and likeness of the Most High. But remember something. When you read in Genesis 1:26 in the Hebrew, it's going to say the Alahayim. You understand that? So it's going to tell you that the Most High, speaking with the angels, said this. Let us make man like us. But remember, it's not just saying look like us, it's saying behave like us. Read again.
And Yahweh said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Now you understand that the angels, they have power and dominion over the heavens. You understand that, right?
Yes.
That's their plane. That's where they Most High created them to be. The Most High created you to be in your plane, in control of your environment, this earth. Because he said what? He used the word dominion. What is dominion?
To dominate.
Right, rulership. You understand? So everything around you, you're supposed to have dominion over. That what you see and that what you don't see. Read on.
Verse 27. So Yahweh created man in his own image.
You're created in the glorious image of the Most High. You understand? And to simply put it, the Most High is not a frog, he's not a bird, he's not a snake, he's none of these things. You understand? If you look in the mirror, you see the Most High. We created in his image. Read.
In the image of Yahweh created he him.
And when he created us, he gave us his behavioral system, how he behaves. That's called what? Anybody can tell me? Laws. You understand? So not only did he create you to look like him, he created a way for you to behave like him. Laws. Did the Most High rest on the seventh day?
Yes, he did.
What did he command you to do?
Sanctify.
So you've been taught how to behave like God, so to put it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Again, that deserves glory. It's showing you that you're not just anything, not just anyone. You're not low, down, nothing. You understand? You are everything that the Most High created you to be. Read on.
Male and female created he them.
So the Most High created man in his image. Male and female created he them. He gave them bodies like we read about in Genesis chapter 2, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Read on.
And Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
All right. So the Most High gave us everything that we needed on the earth. Read.
And Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for me.
Yes.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
So the Most High has created all these things, right? Mm-hmm. And he said what? You're above all these things. You're above all of these things. Now, the lion is the chief animal in the jungle, right? You're above him. Don't try to fight him. You understand? But you are like the lion in life. Mankind. You understand? The Most High created you above all of these things. And all of these things are special because they were created by the Most High. But the Most High made us a special, even more special creation. You understand? Always look at yourself that way. Always look at yourself that way. When somebody calls you a dog, why would you even react to that? You're nothing but a crab. Why would you react to that? Think about that for a minute. Why do we react to these simple things when the Most High has taught us better? You're above these things. You understand? This is wisdom. When you read these words, you have to get that kind of understanding. Okay? Read on.
And Yahweh saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Okay, so now, we're going to go a little bit further before we end this. So, man has a body, right? The Most High gave man a body, created it from the dust. He has a body, he has a soul, he has a spirit, right? What about the Most High? Does he have a body? Does he have a body?
Yes.
Who says no, who says yes? Because some people on the internet, on Facebook, and all of that, YouTube, no, he's a spirit, he can't have a body. But it just said here that what? What did he do?
He made man in his image.
Alright, so that should answer the question, right? That should answer the question, right? But to take it further, let's go to Daniel chapter 7, verse 9. It's simple. And the reason we're going over these things is to reaffirm what we've already been taught. Brothers get into silly battle with people and they do all kinds of things for no reason. The word is here. Daniel chapter 7, verse 9. The glorious body that you were made in was fashioned after the Most High's body. Alright? Daniel chapter 7, verse 9.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Who's the Ancient of Days?
Most High.
How do you prove that? How do you prove that? Just with the words. You can stay right here. How do you prove it?
The ancient.
He sat. He sat.
Okay, we can get to that. You said. But let's use the words, then get to that. What does Ancient of Days mean?
Oh, that's why ancient is a word.
Older than days. Older than days. Okay? Who was here before the first day?
Yahweh.
Okay, so Ancient of Days meaning one that's older than days, before days came to be. Okay, so read it again.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
So like the brother said, he sat. Meaning what? In order to sit, you need what?
A body.
A body. Right?
Physical body.
Simple, right? A physical body. But now hold on, you said a physical body. I need a physical body to sit. I need a physical body to sit. Does the Most High have a physical body? We'll see. Read.
Whose garment was white as snow.
So he had on a garment. What do you need to have a garment?
A body.
A body. What kind of body?
Physical body.
We'll see. We'll see. Read on.
And the hair of his head like the pure wool.
And the hair of his head like the pure wool. Who else was described as having?
Yahweh.
All right. All right. So remember, Yahweh is the express image of the Most High, right? So Yahweh had a body. And the body that he had on the earth. Okay. And he represented who? The Most High. Okay. So that's an explanation. But remember, he had on a garment and he sat. Okay. But some people say he had a physical body. Do you need a physical body to sit?
No.
Let's find out. She says yes.
I think so.
She says yes. We're gonna find out. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and the answers are in the scriptures. Okay? It's just that you have to jog your memory sometimes. 15:39.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 39. All flesh is not the same flesh.
Right, so you might say flesh, but remember, all flesh is not the same flesh. We just read about the Most High creating all the animals. He created the animals, the insects and the creeping things before man. Was the flesh of the animals all alike? No, all different. What about the flesh of the animals and man? Was that alike? No, that's why it's saying all flesh is not the same. Read.
All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh for men, another flesh for beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds.
And we read about all of that in Genesis, right? Read on.
There are also celestial bodies.
Celestial bodies. What does that mean? Before we answer that, read the next one.
And bodies terrestrial.
What is a celestial body and a terrestrial body?
Transparent.
She says transparent. There's some truth to that, right? Of course there is. But when you talk about a celestial body, what kind of body are you talking about?
Heavenly body.
A heavenly body.
A heavenly body, meaning what? It's not made for the earth. It's made for what? The domain of the heavens, where you have the angels, we have other spirits, we have what? The Most High. So now the question is, does the Most High have a physical body? It says there are two kind of bodies, celestial and a terrestrial. What is a terrestrial body?
Earthly.
Earthly body, meaning what? When you were made from the dust of the ground, then you were given a body, then in between your body you got a soul, then you have a spirit, right? It says that Adam became a living soul, meaning what? He was complete. In what kind of a body?
Terrestrial.
A terrestrial, meaning an earthly body. You understand? Made for the earth. Is the Most High made for the earth?
No.
Nah. What about the angels?
No.
Nah. So what kind of bodies do they have?
Celestial.
They have a celestial body. You understand that? Very simple, right? Read.
But the glory of the celestial is one.
So we've been talking about from the beginning of this class, glory and glorifying, right? So what the Most High did deserves glory. Read.
And the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Read verse 40 again.
Verse 40. There are celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial.
Right.
But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
They all deserve glory. They were made in a glorified way. The glory of the celestial body is how it's made. You understand? It never dies. That's number one. But it's made for space. Then the glory of the terrestrial body, even though it expires, it's made in a magnificent way for the earth. You understand? It can breathe, it can see, it can hear, it can feel. And the Most High made all of these things in one. You understand? That's the glory of it. It's so glorified that man still can't figure it out. That's who you are. You have a terrestrial body. All right? So when you hear about man talking about going into space and all that, this body wasn't made for that. You understand? Read.
Verse 41. There is one glory of the sun, another of the moon, and another glory of the stars.
Because these are all bodies that the Most High created. Read.
For one star differeth from another star in glory.
As many stars as you see, each one is different. That's what the Most High is showing you. Read.
So
Hold on.
also,
Before you read that, let's go to the book of Daniel chapter 4. We're going to come back to 1 Corinthians. Daniel chapter 10, verse 4. Daniel chapter 10, verse 4. So you understand now that man has a terrestrial body. He was made for the earth. He was made to occupy the earth. All the elements, everything that's made on the earth and even outside of the earth was made for man's purpose. You understand? To make this a home for man. Like how outside of the earth is made a home for the celestial beings, the spirits and the angels and so forth. Read. Daniel chapter 4, 10 verse 4.
the book of Daniel chapter 10 verse 4. And in the 4th and 12th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is H.O.D.C, then I lift up mine eyes and look, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with the fine gold of Uphaz. His body was also like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning.
Who does this sound like to you? All right. Read.
And his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass.
Now you read the description of Yahweh's celestial body. Celestial body. Because this is back during the time of Daniel's, right? This is how he looked. So when the Most High said he made man in our image, this is what he's talking about. But this is the glorified celestial body. You understand? We were made to look like this. Read.
And the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.
Exactly. So the Most High, man has a body. Yahweh Shai has a body. The Most High has a body. What kind of body does the Most High have?
Celestial.
What's another word for that?
Space.
John chapter 4 verse 24.
Oh, let me know, 10 for.
John chapter 4 verse 24.
Chapter 4, he said?
John chapter 4 verse 24.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 24. Yahweh is a spirit.
That's the kind of body the Most High has.
Spiritual body.
The Most High has a spiritual body. He's a spirit. So when you're reading about him having a garment that was white and that he sat in his spiritual body. You understand? So you don't need a fleshly body to sit or to wear clothes. Scriptures is showing you that. Read that again.
Yahweh is a spirit.
Right. So now the Most High is a spirit. You're a spirit, believe it or not. The scripture talks about clothing for your soul. It talks about clothing for your spirit. When you go deep into it. You understand? So there are different types of bodies. And we have the privilege and the honor of going from one state to the next. You understand? An angel could come, he could appear as a man, but he's going to go back out. You understand? So the Most High gave us the glory of being in the terrestrial body, and also when we pass or when we die, we're in the what? We're in the celestial body, spiritual body. Read.
Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Right, so when you come to the understanding and you see, you'll see that you have to worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. You have to use that to gird you up. The truth of the Most High, the spirit of the book. You understand? Not just lollygagging reading. The spirit of the book has to come to you. If you're not getting the spirit of the book, you're not getting the book. You understand? The book is what you need to revive you. That breath comes out of the book when you open the book and you read it through spiritual eyes. Sometimes you're reading the book and all kind of different thoughts is in your mind, right? You just really, you're like gazing, okay, all right. You don't know what you read.
Emotional aspect.
You understand? So the Most High, the kind of spirit that the Most High is the kind of spirit that you have to worship in spirit and in truth. You understand that? Okay, now go to the book of let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians 15, we're going to go back to verse 41 and finish out there in that book.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 41. There is one glory of the sun, another of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power.
So even after you die, you still have another body. You understand that? Your spirit is a body. Your spirit is a body within a body. So now, what happens to you when your physical body dies? How are you resurrected?
By spirit.
By the spirit. So some people don't believe in the resurrection because that's impossible. If I die physically, I'm in the grave. How could I come back? That's through the spirit.
But when you die, your body's a shell. What was inside the shell that kept it going? The
Right,
spirit.
the spirit. Exactly. Read on.
Verse 44. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body.
So it is sown a natural body, meaning what? Your natural body dies. But what raises you is that spiritual body. Read.
There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body.
Very simple. There's a natural body, which we all have, and there's a spiritual body. Your spirit is a body. Read.
And so it is written, The first man, Adam, was made a living soul.
He had a natural body. Read.
The last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
Which is Yahushua. He died, his physical body died, right? It didn't decompose, but it was raised again. He's the only one that went to the grave and came back with the same body. You understand? And never died again. You had other people like Elijah and so forth, but the difference with Yahushua is that he never died again. Go ahead.
Precept to what you were saying is also in Ecclesiastes 12 and 7.
Right, we're going to get to that. Beautiful. Read.
46. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
That's the order in which the Most High made it. Read.
The first man is of the earth.
Which is Adam. Remember,
Earthly.
the Most High made it from the dust of the ground. That's Adam. He was earthly. Read.
I'll start again. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven.
So Adam was made in the physical, earthly, terrestrial body, which means that he was subject to the environment. He was subject to everything that went on. He was subject to what? Sin. You understand? He was subject to that. So what happened in that garden was supposed to happen in that garden. So you understand? And what's going to happen in the end, in the resurrection, is going to happen in the end. All right? That's for somebody that has proper understanding and not emotional understanding. Read.
Verse 48. As is the earthy, such are they that are earthy.
Right.
And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly.
Right, so those that are of the earth are earthy. You understand? But when you're earthly, you tend to be carnal. You can't be carnal now that you have this knowledge. Now you have to be of that spiritual mind. So when I say what happened in the garden was supposed to happen, someone questioned it like, wait a minute, you mean God made them sin? You understand? Because people don't have proper understanding.
Yeah, allows it.
You understand? The Most High put everything in place. Read.
Verse 49. And as we have borne the image of the earth,
Which is our physical bodies.
we shall also bear the image of the heavenly.
Right. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The Most High has given us the glory of being both. But now, He's taking it to the next level. Read on.
Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh.
And that's who we are in our current state. Flesh and blood. That earthly, terrestrial body. Read on.
Corruption inherit incorruption.
Because we were made subject to corruption. Just like Adam and Eve was made subject to corruption. You understand? When we're in these bodies, all these spirits that we can't see all day long come at us. And that's what brings in the corruption. Especially when you start believing, when you start giving in. Read.
Behold, I show you a mystery.
And this is a mystery, not to us right now, because we understand, right? But nonetheless, it's a mystery to the world. Read on.
We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
We shall all be changed from the corruptible bodies to what? Incorruptible. So now that simply says that in your current state, you're still susceptible to sin. Okay, you can recite the commandments, you can read the laws, but you're still gonna what? Eventually sin. So you're not made the way you are now. You cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven because you're still full of corruption. But He said, I'm going to show you a mystery. We should not all sleep, but we shall all be what? Changed. So that's our hope. Because when you get frustrated with yourself as a righteous man, as a righteous woman, saying, look, I've been trying, but I keep messing up. I keep making the same mistakes or different mistakes. I keep sinning. You feel away. You feel as if you're not acceptable to the Most High. But the Most High said you are susceptible to corruption until what? Until you're changed. So that is your hope. That you'll be better in all things. And not what? Not sin anymore. Read.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye.
Not how it was in the beginning, where He made Adam from the dust, and then the soul, and then the spirit. This is going to happen what? In a twinkling of an eye. Read on.
At the last trump.
At the last trump. And guess what? Some people won't believe like Thomas until the last trump.
Until the last trump.
Understand that. So now you're going to be dealing with some of these people that no matter what you say to them, they will not believe or they won't come to a certain level. You understand? But It's not for you to worry about. The Most High says what? One man does the planting, and what else?
Next man does a reaping.
One man does the planting, one does the watering, but who gives the increase?
The Most
It's the
High.
Most High. You understand? It's the Most High, because the glory belongs unto the Most High. Read on.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible.
That trumpet will be so loud, it's going to raise even the dead. You understand? It's not going to be a secret when Yahushua returns. It's not going to be, oh, he's in Jerusalem, but we got to watch the TV. No. It's not going to be that type of thing. It's not going to be where somebody comes to you, you know, he came back, but he's only over here. You got to come with me. Nah. That trumpet will be so loud, even the dead is going to hear it. Read.
And we shall be changed.
And we shall be changed. Let that be your hope. Let that be your hope, that you're going to be changed from your ways. Now, I use the word hope because I want you to understand that the Most High said it's important to have hope. But you're reading the words of the Most High. His prophecies that he put in place have come to pass. This is another prophecy that he's putting in place. If you believe, if you have faith, if you're not Thomas, right? How many Thomases we got in here? None. So everybody believes. So now when you wake up tomorrow, the next day, the next month, and you're feeling like Thomas, read this. You understand? Because this is what Thomas needed to hear. Sometimes that spirit of doubt is so heavy on you that you can't control it. But you have to revive yourself with these words. Read on.
For this corruptible
Meaning your body.
must put on incorruption,
Become spiritual. Read on.
and this mortal
Meaning your mortal, your physical bodies.
must put on immortality.
To live forever. You understand that? To live forever. Read on.
So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall it be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is swallowed up in victory. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. So your bodies are going to be changed. The Most High is going to make you into that glorious body. You understand? That's a blessing within itself. For that, the Most High deserves glory. You understand? From the body that he made you in the beginning, from the dust of the ground, to the body you're going to be made into the kingdom. Read.
Is that Ecclesiastes or Sirach?
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth.
What is
as
the
it
dust? What is the dust? We read about it in the beginning. What is the dust that the Bible is talking about right here?
was.
The body. Your body when you die, right? Read on.
And the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it.
So there's no real death. There's a departing from, there's a separating from the body. You understand? Your spirit goes on. And it's important that you understand that, because some people fear death. What happens when I don't have these arms and these ears and I can't see through these eyes? What happens? They worry about that. They allow that to turn them into a Thomas, to doubt. You understand? Some people worry about death their whole life. So they have the saying, some people worry about death so much they never lived. Okay? You don't want to be that person, because while you're in that state of doubt, you're not glorifying the Most High. You understand? While you're in that state of worry, you're not really giving the credit to the Most High for what he's done from the beginning. So you can't be that person. Yes, one day we will die. You understand? But even when you die, you go back into your other glorious body called the spirit. You understand? Read that again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it.
So Adam's glorified earthly terrestrial body returned to the dust. He was made from dust and he returned to dust. He died. Right? That might happen to you and I one day. So what does that mean? Should we worry about that?
No.
Why not? What control do you have over that?
None.
None. You have no control over when you're born or when you die. So your worry means nothing. It's of nothing. Go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 23. Because what you're supposed to do is to keep your mind, your soul, your body intact for the Most High.
Order.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to be doing out here. Keeping your body right through the law. Keeping your mind right by removing doubts and negativity and so forth, right? 1 Thessalonians 5, chapter 5, verse 23.
Book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23. And the very power of peace sanctify you wholly.
Cleanses you wholly, make you whole. Read.
And I pray, Yahweh, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord, Mashiach Yahushua.
So I pray your whole spirit, which is the breath of the Most High, your soul, which is in between the body and the spirit, and the body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Yahushua. That's what Paul prayed. That's what you should pray. That's what you should do in life. The Most High is giving you the tools. He's giving you the law. He's giving you the testimony. He's giving you all these things to make you what? Complete. Make you complete. Not to worry, not to have doubt. You understand? Anytime you start to doubt, think about Thomas. You don't want to be that man. You want to be complete and have good understanding of the Most High and all the glory that He gave you. Like I said, when you look in that mirror, you see the glory of the Most High. He made you that way. All right? So your body, your soul, and your spirit be blameless and preserved unto the Most High. That's it for this class.